In the last videos, we made our three objects, the sidewalk, the concrete pad, and the pond, into feature lines and assigned all the elevations. Now we need to do the grading around these objects. Site grading is basically a way of assigning how much material you need to add or take away to your site in order to reach your desired elevations. So for example, this pond that we made, part of it is lower than the existing ground and part of it is higher than the existing ground. So that means we're going to need to remove some material on one side and add some material on the other side so that our site is actually conforming to the elevations that we want it to. So all this feature line work we did is site grading, but now we're going to be using the grading tool within Civil 3D to grade the area around our objects. And that's because right now, if you look at our objects and the current surface, it would be a very sharp transition, and we don't actually want there to be like cliffs and walls and stuff here. We want it to be smooth so people can, walk over it, water can flow the way we want it to. So that's all of the work we'll be doing in the next couple of videos. To show you a quick little tip to check your feature lines, if you click on any of them and you have the properties panel open, the data tab has some helpful information for you. So you can see the 2D and 3D length and the area, but I think this is the most helpful information here: minimum and maximum elevation and grade. So we know 574 is the bottom of our sidewalk. It connects to the concrete pad. 581 is the top where it connects to the existing sidewalk. Our minimum grade is flat, 0%, and the maximum grade is 6.1. And the reason that's 6.1 is because of this one point here based off of the elevation of the existing sidewalk. So not something that we can really control unless you wanted to lower it, which you can. But use that as a helpful reference for you as you start to make the grading around your objects, so you can just check to see that everything is okay before you move on to the next step, right? So the pad should be flat, pond should also be flat as well, right? Okay, so in the Home tab on the Create Design, you can see the grading creation tool here. The first thing we'll do is create a grading group. This functions very similarly to the site grading or the sites that I was talking about in a couple of videos back. If you create multiple grading objects in the same grading group and they overlap or intersect, Civil 3D will automatically do the math and the calculations to get there to be a smooth grade and conform to all of the rules that you're making. But if you have them in different grading groups, they'll function independently from each other and act as different objects. So this first one here, I'm going to call it the site grading group, or maybe you could call it the sidewalk grading group, whatever you want to call it here. And this is where we'll be doing our grading for the concrete pad and the sidewalk. We're going to come back to this automatic surface creation in a later video, so leave it unchecked for now, but we will get there. Now that I made the grading group, you'll be like, nothing showed up. That's okay. We need to go back to the grading tool and actually create grading. You'll see this UI pop up, and working left to right, the leftmost is where you can select your site and your grading group. Right next to it is where you can target a surface. So we're just going to have the existing ground be targeted. Here you can set the grading layer. We'll leave it as the automatic layer. So this is nice if you ever need to hide everything that you make. You can set a criteria set. These are a little bit more advanced to make Civil 3D do like automatic rules for you, and you can set parameters. So I would define a new criteria set if you're working on a project with specific parameters or specific codes you're trying to follow. For example, roadway grading is different than the grading that you might do around a building or a parking lot. So you can set different criterias and different to make different grading tools available to you. So that's an option, but we won't be touching that for this project. Right next to it, you can see the grading tools you have available. You can grade to distance, so how far away you are from an object, to elevation, so exactly 575 feet. You can grade to relative elevation too, which we will be using. So that would be like, I want the grading around or inside my concrete. I want the grading in my pond to be 2 feet below the inside. So like that's something we'll be doing. And then finally, grade to surface is the most common one, and that is simply connecting whatever object you're selecting to the existing surface grade. So select grade to surface, and then on the right here you can see your creation tools and your editing tools here. So you can edit and delete grading, and here you can create the grading. So with create grading selected, I'm going to select my concrete pad feature to grade. Select the feature line, not the polyline, and now it's going to ask us for a grading side. So you can do the inside or the outside. We're going to grade the outside. We want the inside to be flat. Next, it's going to ask you if you want to apply it to the entire length. I don't want to apply it to the entire length, right? So the reason why I say that is we have this concrete pad at 574 feet and this sidewalk at 574 feet right here. So we don't want to grade the land inside the sidewalk here because the sidewalk is where we're going to get the elevation data from. I'm going to turn on my object snapping by hitting F3, this button over here, and I'm going to snap to one side of this sidewalk. You can see the green arrow appear. I'm going to hit enter. So it's showing you the bounds, so it's going to go counterclockwise this way all the way around, and I'm going to snap to the other side as well and hit enter. Next, it's going to ask for your grading criteria. So we are going to grade to a 4:1 slope for both cut and fill. If you recall how that slope ratio works, what that means is every 4 horizontal feet you travel, you get 1 foot of vertical change. So a slope like 2:1 is pretty steep, while a slope like 10:1 is pretty shallow and easy to walk up. So here I'm going to do 4:1 and hit enter. You can select these with your mouse, or you can use your shortcuts down here. So by typing G or S and hitting enter, that's another option. Also set this to 4:1, and now when I hit enter, you can see it creates grading for my concrete pad. This grading is red and green. The red represents area that needs to be cut, I believe, and the green represents area that needs to be filled. So if I select the grading and I select my concrete pad feature line, and these little connectors in between as well, I can add all of these to the model viewer, and we can get a good 3D look about what this looks like. So you can see here, the actual ground is up here in our site, and Civil 3D is saying we need to cut this ground in this shape to get it to line up with our site. And here it's saying we need to fill in this ground here, so it lines up with this side of the concrete pad. So we will be making this into a surface in a couple of videos from now, and that way it will be filled in, there'll be triangles, to match your surface, and everything will look a lot easier to see. But right now, this is what we'll be working with. So we just did it for the concrete pad. In the next video, we will do the same thing for the sidewalk.